Welcome everyone to this episode 9 of the Nano Community Initiatives 3 Stories. I am Carlos Murgas and I will be hosting these spaces with you along with our social media lead, Forrest from Nano Foundation. I'm gonna give Forrest the speak rights. Let's see. Welcome, Forrest.
Doing, Carlos?
I'm fine. Happy to have you here again. Once more. Welcome.
Yeah, awesome. Let me send out a little announcement on our Twitter because we don't have a lot of guests at the moment.
Yeah. Let's not worry and let's begin with giving our guests this time a little um, time to join up. And how is weather over there?
Yeah, it's good, but it's getting a little bit cold. So looking forward to the summer. But luckily, I will be in Spain in a week or so, and then I will stay there till the end of the year. So I will have a little bit better weather at that time. And how about you? How is it in Colombia?
Oh, that's very nice. Spain is such a wonderful place to go. I have never went there, but I hope to do that once in the time. Well, and here in Colombia, we have some dry weather as we just passed the invernal wave here, and we have heavy rains in the territory. But now we are more windy than anything. Welcome, Crypto Mania Orca Antimajaderos. Welcome, Rack. Bienvenido. I just sent you the speak rights so you can speak up. Welcome. Bienvenido. Also, welcome, Perseeve. I'm gonna give you the speak rights as well. Remember that to speak up, you need to log in into Twitter using your cell phone so you can speak up. All right.
Hola, hola, ¿me escuchas?
Hola, sí, bienvenido.
Vale,
Gusto tenerte aquí.
igualmente.
And for speakers and our listeners, we will be having a little bit different format this time and at this episode. We are gonna have for the first time an Spanish native project. So we are looking as we were talking about Spain, we have also a project that will be telling their story in Spanish. So I will do my best to translate to you all the conversation. Welcome, Charlie from Nanobyte. I'm gonna send you the invitation to speak up. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah,
Yes.
perfect.
How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. It's cold in the Netherlands,
It's
isn't it?
freezing. It's freezing. I don't even want to go outside anymore, and I'm also afraid to turn on my heating because it'll probably bankrupt me. So it's not a good place to be right now.
Yeah, definitely. But hopefully it will get better again soon. I think we're almost on the longest day, right? That's the 21st of
Yeah.
December. And after maybe it will get warmer again, but I kind of doubt
No,
it.
no. January and February are the worst. I'm always very jealous of people that live in warmer climates around this time of year, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. But I will be in Spain, luckily, so I don't have the
Oh,
issue.
what? That's unfair. When are you going to Spain?
Yeah, my parents live in Spain, so I will be going near Alicante.
Oh,
Um,
that's nice.
yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, definitely. Only for a few weeks, but looking forward to it because I'm kind of tired of this cold
Yeah,
and
yeah,
wet
yeah.
weather.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Awesome. Yeah, the weather is crazy these days. We should be looking for warmer places if we are not uh, having fun with the cold, and vice versa. Welcome, Charlie. Happy to have you here,
Thank you.
and welcome to also our first crowd in the audience. We had Oreoluwapis Akinwale. Welcome, and Alterman. Welcome to you all. Oh yeah, maybe my mic was turned off. Welcome. If you want to say something in the beginning, as we wait for Perseeve story. No.
Oh,
Okay.
just for clarity, you have to be on a mobile phone to be able to speak on Twitter Spaces. This is something that like an issue that I had as well. The first time I tried it out. But just so you know, yeah, you do need to be on a mobile phone for the mic function.
Luckily, soon Twitter will notice and will open the feature to also computers. Luckily, also I want to uh, say hello to all the Nano community that is hearing us and will hear us in the future. We are very excited to be here and to continue this series. So let's go. Mm, I believe that we could be started. We could get this started first, and maybe when Perseeve project joins, we can loop them in. What do you think?
Yeah, good idea. I'm looking forward to hearing from all the speakers. I think should be good now. Oriolua, can you speak? Still not hearing anything. I don't know about the others, but
And still nothing. Mm, okay. Let's go. The time is ticking, and I will be open for anyone who would like to speak up. To also Forrest can give the right to speak up. So let's go. Firstly, um, my name is Carlos Murgas. I am a Nano community ambassador, and this series, the Nano Community Initiatives Three Stories, is a platform for projects and for creators to network along the ecosystem, along the Nano ecosystem, also to tell their stories, to showcase what have been doing, what they have been doing in this time, like building from scratch a novel idea using Nano, and also to connect with the community, with the Twitter community, with the Nano community, with the crypto community. This is a perfect place for that. And this time and at this episode, we will be speaking up with three amazing stories from the Nano ecosystem. First, we will be if everything goes well with Perseeve, then we will be speaking up with Nanobyte, and then we will be speaking up with Tribus. Um, Firstly, it's important to notice that Nano is digital money, is a cryptocurrency which have zero fees. So it doesn't cost anything to send Nano, making it practical and inclusive for all the world. Also, is eco-friendly. This is that without relying on mining, printing, or minting, Nano is a sustainable solution to money. And as we want our money to be instant in the transactions, we can do instant payments using Nano. You don't have to wait to use digital currency. Nano is ready when you are. So upon Nano, people are creating projects, are creating services, and we will be speaking with three amazing stories this time. As I said previously, we will be co-hosting these spaces with Forrest. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, of course. So I'm Forrest Horseman. I'm the social media lead for the Nano Foundation. I'm very happy to be co-hosting this Twitter space, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from all our guests, and also, of course, from our community. So that's always fun to hear some questions, but also some thoughts from the community. So I just want to say, if any of you has any questions or something they want to say, you can request to be a speaker, and then you always get the word to say as well. That's the nice thing about Twitter Spaces. Oh, sorry, over to you, Carlos.
Oh no! Oh yeah. Okay, it's fine. Well, remember that to speak up, you need to be logging in into a cell phone to being able to speak up into the spaces. All right. Um, First, this is a meet and greet moment, so we will pass the mic to our guest this time for they to present themselves and to speak up about, a little bit about, well, tell their names, speak out a little bit about the project, what it is, just a little brief, and then with the next story. So let's call our first story this episode, Perseeve Project. Welcome, Oroluba. Can you please present yourself? Welcome.
Yeah, I think he has some issues with his microphone. Not sure why it's not working. Oh, I hear something.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear you. Awesome.
yeah. Please um, tell us your name, the project you are representing, and anything you would like to start out with the conversation.
Hey, are you able to hear me? Okay, so for some
Yeah.
reason my sound seems to be unstable, so I'm gonna switch devices. So if you don't mind, you might you might want to go over me for a few minutes. I'll be back.
Ah, okay, okay. Well, we can always just first start with one of the other speakers and then
Sure.
come back to you after that. All right.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Okay. Let's give the word to Charlie from Nanobyte. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and anything you would like at the beginning.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you very much for having me. My name's Charlie Mack. I'm English, although I live in Amsterdam and have done for the past 6 years. Yeah, so I, sort of predominantly worked throughout my history within IT for lots of financial institutions such as banks and insurance companies. And it came to March and I turned 30, and I thought, hey, I'd quite like to try and launch a business. And Nano's been one of my passions. And so I thought, Nano hasn't been doing so well really over the past few years, at least on the adoption side. And I think it's due to the fact that the market doesn't sort of really it doesn't value sort of the proposition that Nano has, at least in what it offers right now. And Nano has amazing utility, but I think for it to actually gain traction, it needs to be used. And what's Nano, good for? It's transacting, and so for it to be used, and I thought that it would be good to make it used for payments. And so that's what Nanobyte is, what the creation of Nanobyte is for, is to hopefully bring the amazing utility of Nano to the payments industry. And so that's our goal here.
Well, that's very, very how to say it, very delighting to know from the start that there are people that can recognize also the reality behind the project and propose for the future. Welcome. We'll be happy to know more about your story. And let's go with our third story, which is tributes. And I will say it again. This is the first time we will be having a Spanish native Nano project. So I will be giving the word to him, and he will be speaking in Spanish mostly, and I will be doing my best to translate what he says to us all. So, okay, welcome, Cryptomania Orca. You have the word, please. Por favor, preséntate con nosotros y dinos tu nombre y qué proyecto representas y cualquier cosa que nos quieras decir al principio. Bienvenido.
Quiero saber si se escucha bien, Carlitos.
Sí, te escuchamos.
Genial. Bueno, a la comunidad de Nano, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, dependiendo de dónde estén. Es un gusto para mí tener este primer contacto con redes sociales. Mi nombre es Raham Maida, soy activista de la comunidad criptográfica para el mercado en español. Y bueno, en medio de todo esto, soy muy afín a los proyectos vanguardistas, a las causas transformadoras. Y bueno, represento a TribuX, que es un proyecto del que vamos a hablar un poquito más adelante. Un proyecto que se enfoca en auditar el servicio al cliente. Esa es la utilidad que tenemos de fondo. De cara a los usuarios, un club de beneficios. De cara a las marcas, una auditoría para ayudarlos a corregir los fallos en el servicio al cliente. Y como queremos desarrollar un proyecto, pues estamos construyendo un proyecto que busca operar desde cualquier lugar del mundo sin ningún tipo de frontera, entonces quisimos integrar criptografía. Y cuando hablamos de criptografía, es inevitable dirigir nuestra atención hacia Nano, que es, desde mi opinión, el proyecto más vanguardista en cuanto a métodos de pago y que el mundo necesita conocer, por cuanto no tiene comisiones, no tiene tiempos de espera y la red es totalmente verde, amigable con el medio ambiente.
Excelente, sí, así es, Rohan. I will translate now. Good morning, good night, or good day, depending on where you are now. My name is Rahan Maida. I am an activist for crypto in Spanish, representing the community, and also representing the Tributes project, which is a project to improve the customer service experience and to fix the failures and the errors that exist today in the customer service industry. They are building a project which is operate whenever you are in the world, integrating crypto as he's committed with being the vanguard point of the hint in the history is inevitable to look into Nano because it's the most vanguardist project in payment methods today, as it is instant in its payments, it's green, it's very eco-friendly, and has zero fees. Ok, Rahan, gracias por tu introducción. Ahora, unas pequeñas reglas de juego durante el término de la conversación. Mientras una persona esté hablando, no, no deberían las otras personas también tener su micrófono encendido. For the beginning of this conversation, I recommend to all the listeners and the speakers, mostly for the speakers, that whenever a person is speaking, please don't turn off your mic until you are or you request the word. All right. Okay. First, let's go with the agenda. As we are in the meet and greet moment. Now we will be speaking with our first story, which is, or well, let's see if the if the Perseeve representative is able to speak up now. Let's hear the Oreolua introduction. I'm gonna give you the speak rights. You can speak now, I believe. Welcome.
Can you hear me
Hi.
clearly now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, I mean, my name is Oreolua. um, I I'm a Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian. I live in Nigeria, and I'm a software engineer. Doing been writing code here and there for about a decade. Primarily in the fintech space, financial services, um, and some edtech at some point. Uh, at some point, I wanted to build something. I thought I, I, I wanted to start something, and I started to look around at what the possibilities were. And at some time in, say, 2019, this simple idea cropped up in my head. Like, you know, actually, I had a personal problem. Um, I wanted to see a certain place at the time, but because I could not be there physically, there was no way I could. Um, so I just came up with this idea of building something that would let someone out there show me a certain location, and I'll be willing to pay them for that service. And so yeah, that's how Perceive was born in my head. Um, but of course, the current financial the current financial system around fiat money does not allow you to do certain things, especially things like real time payments, cross border payments, and um, um, micro payments. They are almost impossible, especially micro payments, right? Almost impossible in the current system. So it was not until I came across Nano the idea began to actually make sense and actually look possible. Um, yeah, and I finally got it
Yeah.
up and running this year.
Well, that's amazing, Orolua. And we are delighted to know that Nano was able to help you making that idea possible, enabling the cross-border payments and also using that need of people to meet new places and using the help of other people to achieve it.
Yeah,
Using an instant payment method at no fees and cross-border. That's a worldwide payment method. welcome, and we are very happy to have you here from Perseeve. So, um, been doing that. This it's a moment to just talk a little bit about the agenda. First, we will be speaking with the Perseeve, with meeting their story. Then we will be speaking with Nanobyte project. Then we go with the activities moment at where you can earn some nano if you are attentive. And then we will be with our third story, which is tributes, which will be in Spanish. Also, after that, we will be doing an MAA, Ask Me Anything moment. So the community will have the opportunity to speak up, to ask questions to the projects, to share anything you want to share with the community. Okay, so first, I think we are good to go. Let's start with Perseeve project and Orolua representing the project. First things first, I will like to ask Orolua, why Perseeve? What is the meaning behind the name of the project?
Oh, okay. So I mean that name, the arrival at that name was not that name was not actually the initial name. Um, at the beginning of the project, it was actually called Find Eyes, like Find Eyes, right? Um, of course, because that was like kind of the first thing that cropped up in my head. Like, I want eyes in a certain location, and I I want to be able to find those eyes there. But at some point this year, when I started to really get into building it, um, having come across Nano and understood its capabilities, it then became evident that the project needed a better name, something more catchy, if I may use that word. So yeah, we started to brainstorm. Forest was actually quite helpful on this one. Was immensely helpful. So there was a lot of back and forth. We had all kinds of names crop up, but we're looking for one that would adequately describe what the project is about. At some point we had a name like spectacles, like spectacles and calls. Um, we had um, some other names I can't remember, but then we started to drill down into words that describe what the application does, right? So it's like you know we need someone to show you a perspective of the place. So we had perspective, and then we had the word see, right? So to see from a certain perspective. So we started to say, okay, we'll work with those two words. So we'll find a way to merge those two words together. So that's how we arrived at perceive, like perspective and see. So without the perspective, without the perspective, and see. So perceive. So it's actually two words, a play of words, perspective and see. And fortunately, the the merger of those two words then means sorry, sounds like the word perceive, which is the actual pronunciation, right? Which means to perceive something. You could say that was a coincidence. That was not planned, but it turned out that way. So yeah, perceive is two words. It's to see from a perspective. Perspective and
That's
see.
so cool.
That's a short story of how we arrived at that name.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun actually trying to come up with those names, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Yeah,
it was a cool drill to go through.
very nice process to get to the most catchy name that definitely boosts the engage of people with the project. Yeah, it definitely links with the project usability, and it's amazing. I really enjoy also the logo is beautiful. Um, Please tell us more about the main features of Perseeve. What can people do into the app as a service or as a product as you conceive it?
Yeah. So we launched as product, a very simple set of features, um, which is I want to see a certain place. I want to see a location of interest anywhere in the world. I mean, today, if you want to see anywhere, well, either video or pictures, you could, just type something on Google about that place, and you will see thousands of pictures and videos of any location in this world. But what you can't do is to see the view of wherever you want to see now. Like you can't see a live view um, on demand, right? So what Perceive solves is that problem of needing eyes in a location now. Um, and also it allows people to earn from from you know being someone's eyes in a certain location. So that was the initial feature that we launched with. This is you search for eyes in a location either through clicking on the map anywhere on the map or actually typing out that place in a search box, and the app goes off, the system goes off and looks for someone who is in that location, who has their GPS, who has their GPS location on. Um, it fetches those people and presents them to you. Of course, when you register on the app, you have the ability to set how much you want to earn when you accept a request. So right now, the default is 0.009 nano. Um, that's going to change in the coming version. You are going to be able to set it in dollars instead of nano, but currently it's 0.009 nano per second, right? That's how much you earn on a call. So you have the ability to set that um, within the settings of the app. And so the app goes up, finds somebody, finds the people who are in that location, it presents them to you. You see how much they are they they are willing to um, show you that location for. You choose whoever you want, and then their phone rings like a normal phone call, right? And they see the notification that says, hey, someone wants to see this certain place which you seem to be a few meters away from or kilometers um, away from. And then you can decide that you want to show them, or you could just decline the request. So you could think about it like like Uber for your camera. Um, um, so yeah, that's the initial feature we launched with, and that works today. Of course, subsequently we added their capability for people to actually join a call, right? So you could do a location search and then invite other people to join the call. Of course, the host gets paid by everyone on the call, right? So if you have 10 people on the call, 10 people are paying the host per second. And of course, that transaction is happening, every second. Of course, Nano makes that possible because Nano is very, very capable of executing microtransactions. Of course, it's instant and also feeless. So um, you can pull off something like that with Nano. So the host gets paid by all, say 10 people on the call or 100 people. Um, imagine that someone is in some location um, of interest, somewhere everybody might be interested in at the same time, maybe Ukraine, for instance, and um, you know many people might be interested in seeing some happening, and you might have someone there is willing to show it. So, of course, for showing that to people who might be interested, they get to actually earn for it. Um, so yeah, we added that capability subsequently, and now we also added the ability to go live, right? So think like Instagram live or Facebook live, right? You could just go live and have people who might be interested in the content you present join your stream and pay you for it, right? So yeah,
Wow, is it it covers so much fields that it feels like the perfect app. Like you can use this to move crowds, to move people, to do things, to visit places, to a lot of things that I believe that it involves the human part of the process
yeah,
and helps connecting people. Like you don't know, I don't know. For example, I don't know many people at Nigeria, but I would like to know the beautiful places at
yeah.
Nigeria, so I
Oh,
could
and
just
you've got a lot of beautiful
write.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's useful like that for those kinds of things. You basically are able to connect with people all over the world and on demand, right? Um, and also pay them, for that service. Like it works for everyone, like both requester and acceptor, right? You get someone to give you a view of a location, and the person also earns for showing you. Right? For me, I think it's social. I think people don't earn enough on social media. I think social media as it's currently in its current form does not work for does not work as much for the content creators. Well, that's another discussion. But yeah, I mean, it allows you, yeah, it works for both, the one who wants to see and the person showing. Um, yeah, and it also has that live thing where you can host seminars. Imagine like you want to host, like, say, tutorials for people, and usually you have them pay you upfront for those kinds of things. But now they don't have to. They could just pay for as long as they join the call, right? So if it was supposed to, hold for 1 hour and you charge a certain amount, say, $5 per hour, right? You could just convert that $5 to the Nano equivalent and have them pay for as long as they join. That's the second. So that's the second part of the app. The app has two angles to it. It's got that social beat to it, and it also has that enterprise thing to it, where content creators can earn for what they produce. Yeah, that's kind of like the vision of the app and what you can do today.
Yeah, I think that's, the really cool thing. Like, it has so many directions that it could go in, basically. And it's such a powerful tool. Like, even if you think about, let's say you want to chat with a therapist, let's say, and you can pay them for every second that you're in a session, right? If you do it online
Yeah,
with Steve. Or if you need an indoor designer, you can basically hire online an indoor
yeah,
designer via
exactly.
Perseeve. You can pay them for
Yeah,
every second that they're helping you. And that's a really revolutionary thing, I think. But
yeah,
also just live streaming and being able to get paid by everyone that's watching small amounts in nano microtransactions for live streaming. That's revolutionary. And I'm kind of wondering, what do you see for the future of Perceive? What is kind of like features that you are thinking of implementing in the near future? And also, do you have some sort of long term vision for Perceive, or are you just going to see kind of where it goes and where the community takes it? What are your thoughts there?
yeah. I mean, so it's both actually. I'm kind of in the middle there. It's taking feedback, but there's also a larger, predefined vision for it. But or we're quite amenable to change, and we're not, dogged about the things we are planned. For instance, the multiple participants and the live view was actually um, as a result of the feedback. It was kind of like part of it, but we realized how important it is having got feedback from people like Nudge, who does a lot of travel. Um, so yeah, we have a vision for it. Like, we want it to become like the app for all things um, content sharing. For instance, one of the features that will be coming either the end of this year, either the last week of this year or the first month of next year will be you know having a timeline of of live streams of interest. All right. So if you log in, you might just be able to keep scroll, just like Twitter Spaces, for instance. You could scroll Twitter Spaces and see spaces that are currently running and ones that you might be interested in. We have those kinds of things lined up. um, but yeah, I mean, we have that vision of it becoming the social everything app for um, communications and um, for content creation.
Awesome.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we are still amenable to things, and we are willing to we take a lot of feedback and incorporate it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. I think it's interesting how the Nano community kind of, start new awesome things that, can't be done with anything else than Nano. Because, like, how are you going to make something that pays people microtransactions every second for live streaming without a feeless currency, right? So I
yeah.
think that's cool, cool to see. And what has usage been so far with your app? Do you have?
We've not gone so hard at marketing just because we have some ends we're trying to tie up within the app. So the growth has been kind of organic. We see new signups every day. Um, in a day, we see like say two, three people try and do a call. Um, but yeah, I mean we're trying to grow gradually. The first thing we're at least trying to make sure is in place is having the app at a stable point. We had some issues about a month ago where we saw more traffic than we thought we would see at this time, um, and weren't expecting it actually. So it kind of caught us off guard. Like we didn't think we would have many people bombarding the server as much as that. But yeah, I mean, we're trying to get to a stable place and then go hard at actually, marketing and getting people to use this thing at large. Yeah, that's kind of like where we are right now.
Awesome. That sounds good. It takes some time to get an app like that, especially if it's something that's completely new. To get an app like that working properly and get everything smoothed out, so it totally makes sense to not go 100% into marketing or anything like that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, great. That sounds really awesome. Carlos, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I also would like to know about Perseeve. What has been like the major obstacles that you had encountered in the project inceptions? Like, oh, I thought that it will be easy in this specific team, but ended up being like a very harsh point to reach.
Uh, I think it might just be, cryptocurrency, the perception of cryptocurrencies at large. Um, it's difficult to sometimes. So you want to explain to someone. So you explain to someone about the possibilities of the app, and then you say uses this cryptocurrency now, and you say, hey, cryptocurrency, no. That thing is all is all some a big Ponzi scheme, or you get all kinds of opinions from people, and it's probably the cryptocurrency community deserves it at this point because it's been quite a, a mess this past few years. So I think the harshest reality is trying to separate Nano from the rest in the minds of the ordinary person who doesn't understand the cryptocurrency, right? The cryptocurrency space, like a lot of people on this call. That's kind of been the harshest, the thing that has been the so what we're trying to do is to look at the language within the app and try and communicate the 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 reason why Nano is the currency in use and how it's different from Bitcoin and the rest, and just get people to be comfortable using cryptocurrency, Nano especially. Um, that's the biggest obstacle right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. As the recent times are like we are like pushing a border that is getting bigger and bigger from bad actors like ruining the vibe of cryptocurrencies in particular. And
Yeah.
it's very important for creators to own that wave and to being able to build even that is just like at the beginning of the history of the industry that we are like the ones who was we keep going, we keep refining the narrative, we keep building are gonna prevail. It's like a belief I have, and I will do all I can to help creators achieve it. So yeah, Forrest, or I believe that we could give the opportunity to our other speakers to raise a question about Perseeve if anyone is open to do that. Traduciré esto. Este es el momento para que cualquiera de los otros invitados puedan hacer una pregunta al proyecto Percibí.
Yo ya tengo preguntas.
Ok, ok. Charlie, any question for Percibí?
Sure. Yeah. How? Say you're on a call with 100 people, and those 100 people all want to pay. They all want to listen to where Charlie is and watch what I'm seeing. How do you manage those transactions? And because you say that the value is transferred every second, can the network sort of handle that throughput if you have one person with 100 people on the call?
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, yeah, I mean the network can. In fact, the network is underutilized in its current form. If you have 50 people, and of course we also have this thing where if the network isn't so if we aren't getting confirmations as quickly as possible, we increase the number we increase the transactions to say 2 seconds or every 3 seconds as against 1 second. Um, but we did a test with 50 people and we had zero issues. Right, the network was fine. Thankfully, it was when there was no spam at the time, no spam attack at the time. So we and it held up quite well. So yeah, I mean the network is capable like that. Besides, Nano is only as limited as the nodes are capable. There's no hard limit, like you have with with Bitcoin and its offsprings. So yeah, I mean Nano can handle it like that.
What do you use to create the proof of works? Do you use I think it's called BoomPow, or do you use something else? Like, how do you create the proof of works for each transaction?
Currently we use BoomPow. We plan to move to spin up our own proof of work.
Oh, I think you dropped there. I don't hear you.
Yeah, maybe a network issue. Oreoluwa, are you there?
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Uh,
You were saying about Bompao and that you were like trying to. That's where it does.
Okay, I was saying that currently we use Boompow. We plan to spin up our own proof of work server in the first quarter of next year. But currently, yeah, we are using Boom proof of work.
Kudos for the Boompo team. You are doing a great work.
Yeah, I think it's a great service. I mean, it allows you to
Yeah.
start up stuff without having to spin up servers here and there. Um, yeah, kudos to them.
Wonderful. Yeah, the community is building all the necessary infrastructure to support all the emerging projects, and we should be grateful for the people that are at the base, that are like building the hardware, the software needed to enable the world payments that Nano are definitely delivering. So thanks Orolua from Perseeve. Please share with us any links that you would like for us to check out. I have been sharing some tweets from the official account Perseeve Dong or yeah app, so you can check it out. And if he wants to share any other link, we will be happy to hear it. I refer to the like the website URL or any other social media Perceive is at.
Oh yeah, the URL is perceived. I think I can share it here. I could just type it. I'll just type it out. It's perceive.app. Currently, the app has only the Android version. Um, we're still trying to come up with to get the iOS version up into the App Store. Of course, Apple and their 30% tax might be a problem because it's crypto and there's no way to have them take that tax without going through their payment system. So that's something we're trying to work out. But it's currently only an Android app. So I'll just share the URL.
Nice. Yeah, we
All right.
should
There.
definitely looking for a software manager project using Nano. We are heading that, don't you think, Forrest?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we have the Perceive URL. Thank you, Orelua. And for all the speakers, be sure to try the app. It's very interesting project, and I'm definitely sure that many people will get to use it and to know the cool features it has. All right, let's go now with our second story at this episode 9 of the Nano Community Initiative's three stories. This time, Nanobyte. Hello, Charlie, again. Welcome. Are you there?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, first time first, tell us more about. Mm, all right, I get it, Nanobyte, but it has some cool story behind. Like, how did you came to this name?
Yeah, sure. Nothing super special. I was sort of racking my brain to come up with a name, and I'm not particularly great with naming things. And so one interesting idea was, well, we all know that one of Nano's amazing use cases is with transferring, any amounts of value whatsoever, even the billionth of a penny. And so I thought, bite-sized, transfers of value And then I also thought that, okay, cool. So, let's do a bit of a play on words there as well. And a byte is also a very small amount of data. So I thought calling it byte would be a cool name. And then sort of stuck Nano in front of it really for recognition and a sort of legitimacy by proxy. So I guess you get a certain amount of trust and association when you choose the name of the cryptocurrency that you're using in front of it. But in the future, if Nanobyte gets traction and gets its own legitimacy and trust and grows as a project, as an application, then I wouldn't be against sort of eventually, dropping the Nano part and just being called Byte. How Tribuaux changed to Wise. But that that would be in the future. I think Nanobyte's a good name for now.
Definitely. Um, yeah, as you share it, it does has like a very cool story behind. Like you were like you can use these features Nano, and this feature has these keywords. So let's use it and let's get catchy for on that path. That's very nice. I have been looking into Nanobytes features. I feel very interesting that you can like use an extension like an add-on on Twitter, like additional button to send Nano. Um, Tell us a little bit more about that. Is something that was first conceived as a feature, or it was just like something that popped up in the way?
Sure. Well, the Twitter side of things really is just, and this is going to be extended in the future, but is really just to showcase Nanobyte and how fun it is to make a Nano transaction with a browser extension, where you don't have to fiddle around with addresses or QR codes or anything like that. And so the reason that we went with this is because we have a bit of a chicken and an egg problem with Nanobyte. So our main focus is for payments, and we want merchants to accept Nanobyte and accept Nano. But if we go and we try to get them to on board, we say to them, "Hey, would you like to accept Nano?" And really, they've got no idea about Nano, and they don't want to accept it. They just want their euros and dollars. And so with Nanobyte, it's an uphill battle, because unless we have loads of users, and we can really say to these merchants, hey, because if you accept Nanobyte and accept Nano, then ultimately you're going to have more sales because there's a better conversion rate because it's a better experience to pay, and you can save on fees because Nano is feeless and all of these great things. Unless we have the users there, then we can't really go, and we don't have that sort of ammunition to go into these sales calls with businesses to try and have them to accept Nanobyte. So I thought, well, Nano is great for peer-to-peer transfer and tipping, because obviously with Nano you can tip any amount, and we have tip bots out there, and we have other Nano payment processors and all of this. But I think the really unique selling point of Nanobyte and the design is really just in the browser extension. Much like MetaMask for Ethereum, Nanobyte can really interact with websites in unique and interesting ways. So with Twitter, we can add a button to every tweet so that when the user presses it, it automatically reads the name of the person that they're tweeting and the tweet ID and things like that. And we can just send them any amount of money to anyone. And we keep that for them so that when they eventually authenticate with their name, then that's automatically sent to them. So it's just to try and generate users, and we're going to try organically grow to begin with. But once we've built out the extension a bit more with some more features, on and off ramping, things like this, moving it onto to Reddit as well, we'll be looking to do some marketing with maybe some influencers and other things, just to really sort of grow the product, get more users, and really validate the assumption that people want to use this. And if we do, then then that's great. We can think about what the next steps are. But until we validated this, then that's sort of like our main focus area.
Great, absolutely. I'm thinking that you at some point you will be deploying these nanobyte extensions all over the web, like looking into like more I will say hermetic or crypto hermetic um, fields like Mastodon and the activity pop derivations at the net. You will like helping people understand that avoiding crypto now is just like avoiding email when it was like just beginning. You should not be avoiding crypto in your life. You should be like looking ways to make crypto easier for you and for your people. Like you are like helping them setting their first email. And I really believe that Nanobyte is making huge steps on this path. Forrest, would you like to ask a question for Charlie?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, Charlie, congratulations on having passed 500 total payments processed already. That is a really cool sort of small milestone, but a really nice milestone, especially if you think about it in such a short amount of time. Because when did Nanobyte kind of launch? It was like a month ago, right? And then the Twitter side of things, like just a week or two ago, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nanobyte launched with Nurch and Redeem for Me, the only two merchants that we're on at the moment, at the end of October. And we didn't see like a crazy amount of activity, but more Nano processed. I think, and then before the Twitter thing came out, I'm not sure, we were probably at maybe 150 to 200 transactions, and then maybe like 400, something like that, 500 Nano. And then now with the Twitter thing, like you say, it was a week and a half ago. Yeah, really happy about that actually. 500 total transactions, and we literally just hit over 1,000, which, you know, you've got to take all the wins when they come, and I'm really, you know, proud of that for sure.
Yeah, that is so cool, and especially if you think about it, because this week I saw that they are getting rid of the Bitcoin integration, right, in Twitter, the Bitcoin Lightning tipping, and the total amount that was tipped, I believe, was around $8,500, something like that, which is insanely low if you think about it. You know, if you see that Nanobyte already processed almost a tenth of that
Right.
in just such a short amount of time, and it's not even like an official integration or anything like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
that's really mind-blowing to me. That really shows the power of Nano with microtransactions and of Nanobyte.
For
So
sure,
really,
for sure. And the funny thing is, I think the integrated Bitcoin solution was Strike, right? Which is pretty much exactly what we're trying to do with Nanobyte. It's a browser extension used for payments, can be used for remittance, sending value, but it's built on Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. So really, you could say an inferior product there. But what's crazy is Strike just got in their Series A funding. They just got, I think it's Series A. They just got $80 million to build out this business. And so, really, if we can do something similar with Nano and show a really great use case for this, somehow get this used a bit outside of the bubble of Nano that we have now, because right now, you know, it could just be people sending it between them. But if we can actually break out of that and get some traction, and we can get a few thousand users, then we might be able to go and get some investment to really grow this thing and into what it actually can be, which I find really exciting, and we're going to try. So we'll see.
yeah, I think honestly, this move with the Twitter tip bot is a really, really great move, and I really hope that you're going to be able to kind of grow this also onto other social media platforms. That would be really nice, you know. And I'm wondering, kind of in that direction, what are the next features that you're kind of thinking about implementing, or do you have some sort of roadmap that you're thinking about? Like, what does the near future of Nanobyte Pay look like?
Yeah, sure. So the very next thing I'm working on is is integrated on and off ramping within the app. We're using Guardian, which is the service that allows you to use cards or bank transfers to get Nano, to buy or to sell Nano. But because they offer this, right, that this is their business model, it's very expensive. So it doesn't make much sense for anyone who's actually in the space to do it in such a manner. It's better to go to your Binance or your Kraken. But I want to offer that as an opportunity. So if someone's coming on to Nanobyte and they don't have any Nano, then they can, within the app, if it's a card payment, they can quickly do KYC within this process and then get Nano. Eventually, we would love to do it ourselves and go and get a crypto license and maybe launch a company in a crypto-friendly country. And then we would own our own liquidity pool, like between euros and Nano and USD and Nano. And by doing so, we'll be able to really cut fees like crazy, and if we keep the transactions when you're in the ecosystem to free and then just charge on the on and off ramping a small percentage, that's generally what our business model is going to be, then we can really undercut traditional payment processors because of the nature of their costs associated with every transaction and the minimum amount in order to make a transaction. So that's really cool, but I thought we'd get the on and off ramping in there available for now so that we can still increase the surface area of users that can use Nanobyte. And then pretty much straight away after that, I'm going to be getting porting the tip bot over to Reddit. So Reddit's very similar to Twitter. It's got an OAuth 2 authentication flow, which means that we can prove who's connected to whose Reddit account. We can authenticate that. And also we can comment on people's behalf. So it'll be the exact same thing, because otherwise, if you have an automated bot, that could get banned from subreddits. Whereas if you go onto /r/cryptocurrency with Nanobyte and you tip someone, it's going to be your own account that is saying, "Hey, I've just tipped you." So hopefully that's another really interesting aspect to it. And then after that, there's a few things, but those are the two main things that I'll be sort of focusing on in the next couple of months, I'd say.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, and especially when it comes to like on and off ramping, that's of course one of the sort of the keys to adoption that is currently still very difficult to come by, right? Like we have several ways of on and off ramping Nano, and also automatic sort of on and off ramping, but it's never really the smoothest experience, I guess. Maybe trustable in the future would be an option as well. That would be interesting, but I guess that's still sort of a future thing because I don't think any of us really know when that's going to come out. But yeah, that's interesting to hear about a little bit that future. And let's take a step back. I'm wondering, how did you kind of get into Nano? Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. How did I get into Nano? So back in 2013, I guess, throwing it all the way back, I found out about Bitcoin, and I'd gone through a bit of a rabbit hole and as to understanding about the financial system of the world and how it's set up and how it's debt based, and how it really doesn't help those people less fortunate. In people that have assets, right? They're the ones that are able to make benefit of this of inflation and the way that it currently works. And so I really got disenchanted with the whole system and the idea that we're sort of just kicking the can down the road with where it's going. And so when I found out about Bitcoin, I was like, oh, this is really awesome. And then I was very philosophically aligned with it. And Satoshi Nakamoto came out with his original white paper, which was titled electronic peer-to-peer cash system. And I was like, really cool. Unfortunately, in 2013, I wasn't able to purchase any. I was just started my job and I had no money. But then, Mount Gox happened, and it came out of our collective conscious for a few years until 2017, when I got back into it, and I found out about Ethereum as well, and was really loved Ethereum as well. And towards August, I think it just started to get really slow. Bitcoin really became a victim of its popularity. and due to the nature of its design, it got really slow and really expensive. And so everyone was scrambling to find something that would replace Bitcoin, And that was when I think Raidblocks came on the subreddit on cryptocurrency Reddit, and I got in super early, or not super early, but a bit early. I think it was about, excuse the price talk, but around $2, $3, or $4, something like that. And then rode it all the way up, and I was super fortunate that I managed to get it out of BitGrail probably around 2 days or something like that before the deposits closed. And ever since, Nano's been the one for me. It's just great as Nano for its utility, right? To be used as a peer-to-peer cash system, you can't beat it. And those, right?
Oh, you're kind of connecting, I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. Someone's trying to call me. Yeah. So I've been in Nano for a long time, and will be until unless there's something that comes along that's better. I wouldn't want to call myself a maximalist. I just think that it's the best thing, around. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I think most of us think the same way of like, well, if there is something coming along better than, like cheaper than feeless, basically, and faster than instant, we would be interested in it. But Nano for now makes so much sense, right? Especially when it comes to these types of payments and micro payments. But interesting to hear, that you already have such a sort of long history with cryptocurrency in that sense. That's really cool. I was wondering, does anyone from the listeners have any questions? Because I think I saw someone request to speak.
Yeah, we have a question from Patrick Luberus. I don't know if he would like to ask the question in his voice, or I can just read it. If you would like to speak up, Patrick, I can send you the speak invitation. Or maybe not. Okay. Okay. Well, the question is the following. This is a question for Nanobyte. How do they plan, or how do you plan to tackle the mobile devices? Oh, he make the request to speak up. All right. I just gave you the speaker invitation. Try speaking up now. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I was curious. Thank you, Charlie, for talking about your backstory there. It's really interesting. I like the direction you're going. I'm curious if you have any plans for mobile devices, just because I know that mobile is pretty popular these days, probably even more popular than desktops. And I think it's maybe more challenging to develop the same kind of extensions or plugins that you're doing currently. Do you have any ideas for that space?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Patrick. So unfortunately for the Twitter and Reddit integrations, where we use the browser extension to sort of play with other websites, that's not possible just by the nature of browser extensions not being available on mobile, and the limitation that you have there. But that's not to say that we can't use Nanobyte for payments on mobile. So I think you'll actually find that if you go and you try to buy a voucher, from Redeem for Me or something from Nurch, and you click on the button, if you're on your mobile, it will actually open up Nautilus, and everything will be pre-filled in, just ready for you to send that transaction. So yeah, for the payment side of things, it's going to be just like it is on the browser extension. But unfortunately, for the more interesting sort of social media tipping features, that's not going to be available for mobile.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for your question, Patrick. If anyone uh, else from the audience or from the speakers have any question for Nanobyte, go ahead. In the meantime, I would like um, to ask you this question. Charlie, is the following. Do you collect any data from your users? I know that you say it, that you already said that you can verify which Reddit accounts belongs to a specific Nano address. I think I understand well. But do you collect any other data from your users?
No, actually, well, extremely small amount. So the profile data that you have, on the application, that is never leaves your device unless it goes to the merchant websites. That's simply just to make your life easier, but that is encrypted locally and then only decrypted at the point of use and is never sent to us. And that's just so that everything is auto filled in whenever you need to make a purchase with Nanobyte. You're not always typing and having to fill out the same data over and over again. The data that we do collect is so if you're a merchant and you sign up, then we have your email address and we have the Nano address that you want to be paid into. Those two things are linked. But from a user's perspective, right, we're non-custodial, and so there's nothing that comes to the server. The seed doesn't come to the server, and the Nano address doesn't come to the server unless you connect your Twitter account. So we need a way to be able to route tips that are made through Nanobyte. And so when you sign up with Twitter, we save the associated Nano address next to the Twitter username, and that's the only thing that we have in our database.
All right, great. It's great to know. Yeah, so data is at some point it's something that users don't always have to or have the capacities to control. Um, it's a good practice. I believe that enterprises and projects try to use the minimum amount of data from users, like use the market data, but don't like tailor your customers in a way that could harm them. So yeah, great to know that. I believe that we are. Uh, we have a question from it's Michael. He says, "Could share intents be used?" Okay, like could Twitter intents be used for tipping from the mobile Twitter apps?
No, like I was mentioning before, unfortunately, in its current integration or the current way of working, it's a third-party browser extension which is just unavailable on mobiles by nature of their design. But if you guys know, anyone here knows Elon Musk and he wants to, has his ear and can ask him if he wants to integrate Nanobyte natively, then I'm sure we can do something.
There is this networking course I took that says that we are at least 5 people away from anyone in the world. So maybe here we can push that possibility forward. Like, do you know Elon Musk? They'll tell him to use or to integrate Nanobyte or Nano to Twitter. That would be huge, not only for the expansion of the adoption, but also by the improvement that the payment methods worldwide will suffer. Like, look, Twitter is using this feeless payment method, and it's even eco-friendly, and and have instant payments. That's something to consider. Why do we use apps? Is just for them to make us feel some funny moments, or do we use apps because they are useful for us? So let's think more about it. And yeah, thank you, Charlie, um, for your story, for your shared thoughts. And now we are good to go with our next part of the agenda, which is the activities moment. At this moment, I will propose to the audience, for anyone who hears that, who hears my words in the following 48 hours, to take a paper sheet and write it down with the following quote: I use Nano. And you can also add your Twitter handle, upload a picture of that paper sheet to Twitter, tag me, and I will be sending you some Nano for you to play with. So, yeah, if anyone from the stories at these episodes would like to propose an activity to the crowd, this is the moment. Voy a traducir en español. Este es el momento de las actividades. Si alguno de los proyectos quiere proponer una actividad para los quienes estamos escuchando, este es el momento. All right. Remember, you have to take a paper sheet, write it with the following quote: I use Nano, add your Twitter handle, take a picture of that writing and upload it to Twitter, tag me, arroba, or my handle is Murgas Carrillo, formerly El Perfil Bajo, but now I am Murgas Carrillo here. So yeah, okay. After this, we can go now with our tier story for this episode. As I said previously, this is the first episode at where we will be having an Spanish native project, which is Tribus. So I will be speaking in Spanish and asking questions to our friend Graham in Spanish. And after he um, answers my questions, I will translate it to English. So let's try it out how it goes. Bienvenido, Rahan. Welcome.
Un gusto estar aquí con ustedes y compartir este espacio tan interesante con las iniciativas de la comunidad Nano.
Thank you, Rahan. He says that he is very happy to be here and to share with the Nano community at these spaces. Okay, Raham, cuéntanos un poco acerca del el nombre de tu proyecto, de Tributs. ¿Qué historia hay detrás de ese nombre?
Ok, inicialmente el nombre de la aplicación era simplemente Push, que era el acrónimo de Buy Your Safe, como invitar a la gente a comprar sistema de ahorro. Pero posteriormente decidimos integrar la filosofía de comunidad. Este proyecto se está gestando hace muchos 10 años más o menos, en todas sus fases, porque no queremos salir al mercado con algo que ya existe, sino integrar una innovación que termine siendo útil para el mundo comercial. Entonces, integramos una función que es la del endomarketing, y por otro lado, la comunidad que nos ayudará a detectar los fallos en el servicio al cliente en cualquier espacio retail, enfocado principalmente en negocios medianos y pequeños.
Okay, he said that initially the the name of the project was simply Bust, but after that they decided to change the name to Tributes because they identified as a tribe which is focused in helping to correct the customer service failures. And Boss standard by your share, like motivating people to buy their stake in the project. And Tribute is the product of 10 years of planning in all its steps, and is currently uh, trying to not go to the market, to not enter the market with something that has been already created. So they are focusing in the endo marketing integration and the strategy, and also the community that will help to 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 identify all these failures in the customer service field. Okay. I don't know if did you hear the thing I just said? I believe my mic was turned off. ¿Me escuchaste lo que dije? Que creo que mi micrófono estaba cerrado.
Te escuché, pero no he entendido. No.
Oh, bueno. Bueno, creo que fue como un tema del micrófono. Quisiera también preguntarte, Raham, ¿qué, cuáles serían esas funcionalidades de Tributes? ¿Qué sería como lo que ofrecería Tributes a los usuarios? Ahora en inglés. The question I am asking to him is, what are like the features that Tributes will offer to the customers? ¿Sí?
Bien. Tribux es, de cara al público, un club de beneficios. Un club de beneficios que integra un programa de fidelización o puntos de lealtad. Imagínatelo de esa manera. Pero en este caso, los clientes van a recibir unos beneficios por adquirir productos y servicios en los negocios que adoptan nuestro sistema publicitario. De cara a las marcas, a los negocios, Tribux es un canal publicitario que tiene como objetivo principal, como ya hemos dicho, ayudarles a detectar fallos en el servicio al cliente. ¿Cómo funciona esto actualmente? Con un sistema de puntuación en el que después de recibir un servicio, tú calificas lo que recibiste de 1 a 5, por ejemplo. Pero eso tiene un gran inconveniente, y es que a punta de promedio, lo que yo llamo el comunismo comercial, el que hace un muy buen trabajo queda reducido a unas estrellas que probablemente no reflejan los verdaderos valores de una marca ni su verdadera ventaja, y al mismo tiempo otro tipo de negocios que están más enfocados en vender en masa reciben un puntaje bajito, pero sin embargo en el promedio resaltan, eh, porque mucha gente hace una calificación al azar sin tomar en cuenta las verdaderas necesidades de servicio al cliente, sin tener un criterio para aportar correcciones en todo esto. Entonces, lo que hacemos por medio de Xtribux es detectar fallos. Nos interesa no la Big Data, no nos interesa tener grandes datos, sino nos interesa más bien detectar los pequeños fallos, los pequeños clientes inconformes que pueden hacer que el comercio decaiga en cuanto a su valor como marca. Cuando tú tienes una marca y esa marca eh, tiene un mal performance ante el cliente, ese cliente va a perder la confianza. Un cliente solo que tal vez no haga mucho efecto, pero un montón de clientes van haciendo que una marca se deteriore y finalmente cierre. Entonces, lo que estamos generando es un sistema para detectar esos fallos corregirlos antes de que se hagan incontrolables. Por otro lado, otro punto importantísimo del programa TribuX es que nuestro sistema de marketing se basa exclusivamente en el voz a voz. De esta manera, para las marcas, el negocio verdadero es atender a sus clientes. No nos van a pagar por este servicio, sino que los usuarios van a pagar una membresía. Por medio de esa membresía se van a integrar a nuestro club y pues obviamente un precio muy módico que será redimido en productos y servicios de los establecimientos afiliados, y a partir de allí vamos a poder ofrecerle a las marcas esta herramienta.
Excellent. He said that tributes to the customer is a benefit club from which businesses can benefit by receiving um, advertising and call to from a filtered public that comes to consume their product or service. And for the businesses, uh, Tributes is like advertising channel that helps them detecting customer services failures, and this is good pictured by the actual scoring system that is star based. You can score a customer service experience by giving from 1 to 5 stars, but this system is not uh, the real representation of the quality of the customer service experience. So many products and services are focusing in mass selling, and the mass selling is not focused in the customer service or the customer satisfaction. So they not focus on fixing those little flaws that in the long end up by damaging the branding image and or the brand value. So tributes works this way. When a bad service is detected, it is reported, and tributes focus its attention in that particular point to improve uh, the customer service experience, and they reward the user and in common agreement with the businesses. Tribute's marketing system is based exclusively in voice a voice strategy. So this because their real business is to serving its customers, and many brands find find the Tributes membership, the club membership, as a way to get more customers um, and for the customers they get benefits being able to redeem products and services in the affiliated businesses of Tributes. Ok, me alegra mucho y me gusta el sistema porque realmente, por ejemplo, en Colombia, aquí el servicio al cliente en muchas industrias es pésimo y realmente no hay, ni siquiera pareciera la intención o el deseo de mejorar el servicio al cliente, sino que venden, como tú dices, venden en masa y no les importa realmente si el producto llega bien, si el cliente está satisfecho. Y pues eso a la larga, como bien dices, un solo cliente insatisfecho no es gran problema, pero ya 100 clientes insatisfechos que están hablando mal o que dicen que la marca es mala, que tuvo este problema, eso puede afectar muchísimo la marca, incluso hacer que cierren, incluso si las fallas son de tanta magnitud que no es sostenible seguir con el negocio. También quiero preguntarte, Raham, si en este camino que has tenido con Tributes en el proyecto estos 10 años que vienes desarrollando, si te has encontrado con dificultades específicas o obstáculos que has tenido que superar para continuar con el proyecto.
Sí, en primera instancia el proyecto se llamaba Love and Work, era la simple auditoría. No teníamos claro un sistema para capturar la data. Me reuní con muchos empresarios en su momento, hablando del año 2013, 2014, y la respuesta era siempre negativa. El costo de mal servicio se consideraba como obvio, como que no hay nada que hacer para resolverlo. Entonces ese fue un primer obstáculo. Sin embargo, lo pudimos resolver integrando el club de beneficios para que sean los mismos clientes los que nos ayuden a detectar, porque los clientes siempre tienen las antenas súper eh, prestas para detectar esos fallos. Ahora, uno de los nuevos retos es, visto que es un caso de uso para el sistema de criptomonedas, en particular de la red Nano, necesitamos ayudar a la gente del común a adquirir las monedas, porque la aplicación efectivamente no va a tener ningún link con los estados, con los gobiernos, con las entidades, va a funcionar totalmente desde el aire. Entonces, para que una persona lo pueda usar, necesita adquirir unas monedas de nano, de banano, lo que sea, y depositarlas dentro de la aplicación. Ese proceso de integración en este momento es uno de los retos sobre los cuales estamos trabajando. Una pasarela de fiat a cripto que simplifique la adquisición del proyecto por parte de los usuarios.
Excellent. He said that at the beginning, Tributes was mainly focused in offering the audits to the businesses to improve their customer service experiences. So the initial customers or the clients didn't see it as a necessity in the beginning because supposedly nothing could be done with those little flaws in the customer service experience. But when they added the membership and the benefit club, they could achieve to pass this limit in the client's perspective, and they could push forward. Um, Another obstacle is the fiat off and on ramping, the fiat crypto gateway or payment processors, because at the apps there's usually no way to the custom for the customers to acquire the coin. So it's very important to help the people, the customers, to acquire the coin and to being able to use it. And so this crypto fiat crypto gateway is one of the challenges that Tribu is working on. Also, también, Rahan, me gustaría preguntarte sobre, digamos, es importante el tema de los datos, ¿verdad? De los usuarios. Y también esto para los negocios es muy importante también, porque sabemos que muchos negocios están dispuestos a entregar mucho dinero para tener los datos de sus usuarios o de posibles clientes en el futuro. Entonces, dinos, Tributes, ¿cómo es el manejo que le viene dando o le piensa dar Tributes a los datos de los usuarios de sus clientes, pues, y de los usuarios que usen la aplicación y el club de beneficios y todo esto que ofrece Tributes?
Para crear la cuenta solo necesitas abrir la aplicación tal como abrirías Natrium, Naut o cualquier billetera criptográfica. La única diferencia es que aparte de eso vas a tener un username que va a permitir establecer tu posición dentro de la estructura de cliente. De resto, no necesitamos absolutamente ningún dato. No nos interesa si eres hombre, si eres mujer, si cuántos años tienes, tu documento de identidad, tu nombre, tu correo electrónico, tu teléfono. Porque esos datos, en este momento en el que estamos, cuando el mundo se ha vuelto excesivamente controlador por parte de las entidades, nos dimos cuenta de que no son necesarios. Es más importante detectar los pequeños fallos. Cuando una persona comenta anónimamente, lo hace con mucha más libertad. Puede existir un grado de subjetividad, pero nosotros tenemos un sistema para controlar que esa información que el cliente está diciendo pueda ser verificada desde una perspectiva justa, un tipo de arbitraje, lo podríamos llamar, para que cuando el negocio reciba el feedback, tenga la certeza de que hemos depurado la información. ¿Cómo lo hacemos? Suponte que yo llego a comprar un café y la persona que atiende me mira mal. Yo reporto en la aplicación TribuX, ¿ok? Pasa una semana, pasa un mes y recibo 200 reportes sobre esa misma situación. Definitivamente hay algo que está pasando dentro de la tienda con la persona que está atendiendo al público. Y entonces hay que detectar cuál es esa razón. Podría ser que tiene un familiar enfermo, o su hijo está en el hospital, o que le duele una muela, o que se lleva mal con su jefe, no importa. Tenemos que encontrar la razón y ayudar a solucionar el problema de ese servidor. Porque cuando un servidor no tiene en su frente la etiqueta de la marca que representa, está perjudicando los valores de la misma. Y para eso no necesitamos los datos. Por eso decía hace un rato que nuestra filosofía no se basa en la big data, sino por el contrario, en la small data. Buscamos encontrar esos pequeños fallos y ayudar a las marcas a resolverlos.
Whoa. Okay, he says that to create an account attributes, you only need to open the application, to open the app, and just like you will create an account using Natrium. Sorry, and just like you will create an account using Natrium, you will be able to create an account attributes. You don't need to input your name or your email or your address or any data which is not needed. And this because, as he was saying, um, the only thing that they will need to recover or to get from users are the like some basic info, not to track them, just to determine in which customer segment they belong. Um, and why do they consider that data such as email addresses are not needed in this moment of the industry? Nowadays, it is more important to find those small faults or failures in the customer service experience that when a person this because when a person posts a customer service or a brand review in their personal accounts at Twitter, for example, and they are sure that no brand know their Twitter handle, they will not read that review, and the customer feels like more in a more secure field to post their belief, their thoughts, their spirit. This is different for those businesses that catch all the data from the users. So the users are not really free to speak what they experienced in the brand or with the brand. And the businesses that receive the tribute service receive the best information that without the filters or the limitations that the system that collects all the data has. Tributes will work at this way. Imagine a woman who goes to buy a coffee, and the receptionist make or the people that serve the woman says or make a bad face or a bad gesture to her, and this customer woman can then use Tribus app to submit that customer service review, and Tribus can then, with that information, get to the business and propose them to check those failures up, and they can come up with the thing that probably the waiter was not like having the best day, and like try to come out with strategies to get a better service. Y pues me agrada mucho que lo pienses así y que, por ejemplo, le des la aplicación en lo que sería el día a día de una marca que a veces realmente no está pendiente de lo que pasa más allá del mostrador o lo que pasa desde el mostrador, por decirlo así. Y ciertamente a veces las marcas toman decisiones equivocadas porque no tienen como esa información real y que a veces los que hacen las reseñas en los servicios o los productos no están pues seguros realmente de si decir todo lo que les pasó, si decir exactamente qué fue lo que sucedió, porque piensen que luego van a tocarles la puerta en la casa y decirle, hey, tú publicaste esto de nuestra marca, mejor quédate callado. Entonces, qué bueno que lo estés proponiendo así. Bueno, me gustaría también preguntarte, Raham, em, ¿cómo es el tema del equipo Tribus? De pronto te estás llevando una empresa, digamos, tu equipo eres solamente tú, o ya has ido como conformando un equipo para soportar la marca en el camino.
Sí, el primer tema es que como es una integración de múltiples factores, encuentras personas a las cuales no les hace sentido porque lo piensan solamente desde la perspectiva de los usuarios. A otras no les hace sentido porque lo piensan solo de la perspectiva de los clientes. Pero cuando uno ha estado en los diferentes lados de la situación, puede verlo desde una manera superior, lo puede ver desde arriba y entenderlo más. Entonces, poco a poco hemos ido integrando personas. En este momento el equipo de diseño es haciendo un trabajo hermosísimo. Tenemos casi lista nuestra landing page por medio de la cual los usuarios van a empezar a registrarse. También estamos trabajando en la interfaz de la aplicación como tal, que debe estar lista más o menos en 2024, que es lo que hemos estimado. También se está trabajando en la aplicación para las marcas, es una tercera aplicación que también necesita pues su desarrollo. Y viene un trabajo larguísimo que tiene que ver con la capacitación, por lo cual vamos a empezar localmente, empezaremos aquí en Barranquilla, probablemente en Lima, Perú también. Y a medida que las personas se vayan integrando y vayan viendo el funcionamiento, creo que muchos de nosotros hemos usado cupones a través de la vida, pero cuando ya le damos un nuevo uso a los cupones, ya pasan de ser simplemente un descuento económico, sino que se vuelven un gancho verdadero para pulir los estándares de servicio al cliente. Creo que el proyecto va a tomar una fuerza muy grande. Definitivamente todo está diseñado ya, pero estas pequeñas integraciones son las que permiten que, que esas innovaciones trasciendan y generen nuevas líneas comerciales.
Perfect. He said that sometimes it is not enough just to look from the customer perspective, and also there is usually not enough to just look into the business perspective. So basically in this, he has been looking to add team players to the Tributes team to like giving like the best from each sector, like the customer sector and the businesses sector. And there have been many improvements, like the design team that is doing a beautiful work by designing. For example, they are planning to deploy their landing page soon, and also they are planning to deploy an app for businesses, like the tier app, focusing in businesses, and they have the goal to open or to enter the market at Lima, Peru soon, like luckily or hopefully in the 2440 or 24, they will be deploying these new features. And he says that very probably that we all have used coupons before, And today we add coupons not only at a cheap discount in a product, but also a snack for businesses to get new customers and to fidelize new customers to their business model. Well, like uh, no. Bueno, Raham, también me gustaría preguntarte y que nos compartieras, bueno, ya quería preguntarte más bien que cuáles son las redes en las que pudiéramos estar siguiendo a Tribux para estar al tanto del desarrollo del proyecto.
Bueno, empezamos con que no queremos datos personales, no queremos ser quien guarda los datos de nadie. Probablemente cuando el equipo de marketing salga al mercado, entonces vamos a tener redes sociales a las cuales las personas van a poder seguir, pero esas redes sociales no van a ser administradas por Tribux directamente, porque, de nuevo, Tribux no está interesado en abarcar o en acumular los datos sensibles de absolutamente nadie. Es un tema que nos simplifica la vida, inclusive en el tema regulatorio, para poder operar en cualquier lugar del mundo. Pero ya digamos que están creadas, está Tribux-bajo en Instagram, en Twitter, en TikTok, pero evidentemente todavía no hemos creado contenido hasta no establecer un poco más aterrizado los tiempos de salida.
All right. He said that as he said that the Tribute is not interested in the emails or the data of the users. So it's like like having this advantage in the regulatory field as they don't use uh, data from the users, they can work with less risk into the regulatory field, and they are very positive about the future of the project, as as mainly all the features are getting development in a good time, and you can find tributes at social media. You're looking for tributes and backslash, I mean don guión or tributes guión bajo en Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, tenemos esta pregunta de un oyente, de Juana. Si quisieras hacer la pregunta con tu voz o puedo leerla, puedes pedir el permiso para hablar. Bueno, voy a leerla por acá. Te pregunta, no sé si ya lo han comentado, bueno, pero ya hay clientes específicos a los que adaptar esa medida o ese proyecto con Nano, o todavía se está pendiente de ver a qué tipo de comercio dirigirse y más o menos cuándo se espera empezar con la implementación. Muchas gracias. Gracias, Juanan, por tu pregunta. Raham.
Hola Juan, un gusto saludarte, papá. Bueno, te cuento que ya hemos hablado vamos a empezar con el sector comidas, con el sector de alimentos, negocios dentro de los centros comerciales, restaurantes, etcétera. Hay una segunda etapa que se va a dirigir a un campo más grande del retail, que va a incluir car wash, servicios de tienda de mascotas, eh, bueno, cualquier cosa que sea retail dentro de tu ciudad. Y luego hay la tercera etapa, cuando ya la comunidad esté robusta, en la que vamos a abarcar el mercado turístico, hotelería, agencias de viajes, etcétera. Con la primera etapa ya estamos bastante avanzados. Hay un grupo amplio de negocios que están interesados en implementar el proyecto porque ya existen compañías que hacen cosas similares, pero les cobran demasiado dinero y no les proveen los beneficios de la intermediación en cuanto a servicio al cliente. Esperamos más o menos a mediados del próximo año, finales, ya estar haciendo las pruebas. Todo va a salir, y con esto quiero puntualizar el tema de redes sociales, a través de una página, una landing page, que es tribuaux.io, que todavía no está montada, pero ya está en trámite de creación. Y en esta página se van a poder seguir los avances del proyecto. Esto para responderte la pregunta anterior, Carly, que quedó pendiente.
Gracias. He says that the question was like in which sectors Tribus is planning to deploy first, like what kind of businesses. And he said, Rahan answered that in the first moment they are focusing in the food services like restaurants, bars, and this stuff of places where people go to eat. Also, they are planning to go for the car wash sector and more and many other retail businesses when the community grows and the project gets a little bit more robust. And in a late moment of the development of the project, they are focusing in the hotel sector, the hotels, and the tourism for giving an example. And he also said that they are focusing in the landing page to offer this to the customers to get to know more about Tributes, and they are planning to use the tributes.io URL. So there it is not yet deployed, but soon it will be. Ok, gracias Raham. Y nos ha encantado mucho saber un poco más de Tribus. Me parece que como tú bien dices, ya tienen un desarrollo y tenemos un plan para hacerlo realidad, lo que es fundamental. Y gracias por estar acá, por compartir con nosotros. La primera vez que hacemos esto en español y me pone muy contento que hayas decidido también acompañarnos acá. Gracias.
A mí también, hermano, muchísimas gracias por la invitación y bueno, solo espero que la persistencia que estamos aportándole a nuestros proyectos, a Nanobyte,
A Perseeve.
todos los sí, todavía no me lo meto en la cabeza. Pero bueno, hagan que la comunidad, el ciudadano de a pie, deje de ver a las criptomonedas como un pisa y corre, como una estafa, y se dé cuenta de que realmente son una oportunidad para quitarnos de encima las cadenas del sistema financiero tradicional. Te mando un abrazo a todos, muchísimas gracias por estar acá, por la invitación y una feliz tarde para todos.
All right. He said that he's very also happy to be here and that we need to get off of the chains that the traditional customer service industry has upon us, and that he will remain building, and soon we will have tributes for all the audiences. Okay, thank you. And we are good to go with our final part of the spaces, which is an MAA. We had various questions from the crowd along the spaces, but if anyone wants to raise a question, to share a thought with us, anything you would like to say, we will give you the right to speak, and you can do it now. Bueno, aquí nos dice en los comentarios Juanan, dice, genial, muchísimas gracias por la respuesta, mucha suerte en el proyecto, estaremos atentos a los avances. Es la primera vez que escucha un space de Twitter sobre planes de adopción de Nano. en español. Ha sido súper interesante y espero oír más. Gracias, Juanan, y muy gustoso de que nos acompañes por acá también. Creo que ha estado bueno. Gracias, Orolua, gracias, Raham. También gracias, Charlie, que nos abandonó, se tuvo que marchar hace un rato. También Forrest, que tuvo que también que salir. Pero estuvo muy bien acá, muy contento de que hayamos hablado. Very happy to have you all here, and especially to our guests that shared their story with us. And remain in touch for the next episode. If you know any other projects that would like to speak up here, share the word with them, and we will sure have them here in the next episode. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice rest of the day, of the night, whenever you are. This was the Nano Community Initiative's 3 Stories, episode 9. My name is Carlos Murgas, and see you the next time. Bye bye.